Just finished this up for my buddy Mike. First build from me. He wanted to go all out with the cerakoted build. It's a D at the end of that. So he wanted to do a preserve the bees build. So very, very, very cool and out of the box kind of thing for me to build. So to get the bee in yellow or gold, we did a brass dial build. So we etched out everything around it. So it was just brass on brass, but this was raised. Painted the background in black, baked it, sanded it down, and this is the result of that. So you've got your raised brass. I also did a brass ring inside the glass going around there, so a little bit extra brass. So we're under a full black Cerakote build. So we've got a Cerakoted black case, crown, SS band, and bezel. Then you wanted to add a honeycomb here on the end of the crown. Wanted to do preserve on the clasp. So what we did was we did the base layer in a brassish color, baked it, and then did black and baked it, and then lasered off the top coat. So we've got preserve there, and we were able to get it in that same kind of color. And then he wanted the sides done up that way too. So we got the sides of the watch done up, and then I was able, and I had something on hand that wasn't quite gold, but it wasn't quite yellow, and I thought it worked really, really well with the dial. And then I threw in a gold paddle handset, just a little bit of a pop of color, though it's related, and then a seconds hand that is custom painted black with a tannish kind of color that's not loomed, just tan paint in there, just to kind of also give some contrast as well. So you've got brass, gold, and brown, and I thought it turned out pretty killer. So I hope he likes it. He has not seen any pictures of it yet, but it was time to do a video on it. So this is your build, man. Oh, also larger window exhibition case pack. I did you a gold or a gilded rotor inside there, and also has a stainless steel movement holder in there. So that is your build, man. So hope you like it. I thought it turned out pretty kick-ass. So you know that the bezel will turn left, it'll turn right. It does not click. It is just a tension ring. Automatic mechanical. So you can wear it, you can wind it, you can put it in a watch winder to keep time. But if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, you want to pre-wind it so you don't lose any time. Don't just put it on and hope you're moving it around enough to keep proper time. So back off the crown from the threads so you hear it and feel it clicking, and you see a little tiny bit of play, but you're off the threads, right? You're off the threads. At that point you can wind, and a wind is a turn away from you. Wind backwards does nothing, but it's a lot easier to keep your spacing from not screwing it on or pulling it out into that wind setting. If you do this for 4 or 5 seconds, you will keep time throughout the day. If you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out your 31-hour power reserve, but you cannot overwind it, so you can wind it all day. You just won't get any more time than that. So this is what I do, just to make sure that the next day they're running great. So you sit there and wind. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 2:44 p.m.
2:44 p.m. So still keeping time great. Pull to the one and only click. You'll notice you've got a wobble crown. You'll notice that it's not a hacking movement, so it's going to keep going. At this point, you can set your time. So this wobble crown will deflect lateral pressure against the stem from going into the movement, so it will roll. When you can go from winding it to setting the time, but you cannot go from setting the time back to winding it. You'll notice down here, you're not doing anything. It's not clicking. And if you get it pulled back just a hair, it will set your time. It doesn't do anything right here, okay? So what I do when I'm setting the time, or I wind it first, then I set the time. And it was what, 2:44, so it's about 2:45 now. So, what was it? Oh, so on the wobble crown, I kind of pull back, I hold tension on it so that I'm not pushing and prying on it. You can, it's just, I pull a little back, just a little bit, keep that tension on there, and that helps a ton. So it also is super easy to push right back over and thread down. So that is your build, man. You hadn't had a build from me before, so the wobble crown is a little important. So before you put it on, just wind it just a little bit, just to make sure that you're active enough, you're keeping enough time. So help it a little bit, pre-wind it, pull it out, set your time, put it back down. Don't go from setting the time to winding it because you can't. You have to re-engage the clutch by screwing it back down. So always go from unscrewing to winding to setting the time to putting it back in. If you try to do it the other way, it just won't work. You'll go, what is wrong with this? So that's it. That's how that part works. And that's the build. So under this black layer, in theory, I know it's at least on the clasp. I don't know if we did it everywhere. It's probably not on the case of the bezel. But there's a good chance that this is a base coat under this. And if this would get scratched, that would be under there. But you can scratch this. So I don't recommend it. It's just like car paint. It's not car paint, but if you scratch your car against, concrete, you will scratch it, right? Same thing happens with this. You can do that. So don't rub it against anything. It will definitely come off. There are some things out where you get like black bands and such where they are like chemically painted. I believe they're using like some sort of electricity to kind of bond the paint to the metal. That's not this case. This is kind of like it's bead blasted and then applied and baked in. So just an FYI. Also, color matching beads, up to you whether you wear them or not. And a special edition Save the Bees box. Bill will come with watch clearance. It's good on all glass and metal parts. So this whole build right here is good to go. Non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. And then lastly, you can scratch the face. If you do, no worries. Put a tiny bit on here, buff against that scratch. Filling that scratch on the acrylic with this. Buff it out using your included microfiber. This will make sure it will go back to looking pretty again. There's enough in here to outlast this watch. You just need a tiny bit. Only use what you need because the rest has to go somewhere. It's only filling a scratch and it doesn't just go into the acrylic. So you have plenty here. It's going to feel like pledge on wood. It's going to be super smooth. But that's how you get it back to being pretty, man. So I hope you love this. I thought it turned out pretty killer. Yeah, I was actually very happy to make this watch. So I thought it turned out pretty awesome. And I was fortunate to have that bezel insert. I didn't plan for it. Got the dial in, got everything done up on it, got everything sent away, or everything came back, and then that's when I could see the colors. I didn't have any of the cerakoted stuff here. It came back to me, and I was like, okay, this color looks good. This bezel, I had grabbed like a yellow one. I was like, yellow's gonna look good, and then I was like, man, this is not gonna pan out. It's too bright. You look at that thing way too much. So I was fortunate to have that in the back. So I thought it turned out great. I hope you like it, Mike. And if you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I will see what I can do for you, see what happens. Some of this was planned, some of it wasn't planned, and I think it turned out great for what we had. So if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. And I appreciate you, Mike, and appreciate all you. Thank you, guys.